President Joe Biden has authorized the use of long-range missiles by Ukrainian forces to strike targets within Russian territory. This pivotal decision has sent shockwaves through Moscow, prompting an immediate and furious response from the Kremlin. As tensions escalate, questions loom large. What will be the consequences of this unprecedented action? How will it affect United States-Russia relations and the broader geopolitical landscape? Chapter 1. The decision. The Biden administration's decision to supply long-range missiles to Ukraine comes at a critical moment in the war. With Russian forces intensifying their assaults on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure, Kyiv has been urgently requesting more advanced weaponry to bolster its defenses. The long-range missiles, particularly the Army Tactical Missile System, logically have the potential to significantly enhance Ukraine's military capabilities. This capability allows Ukrainian forces to target supply lines and military installations deep within Russian territory, potentially shifting the balance of power in the conflict. United States officials argue that this assistance is crucial for Ukraine's ability to defend itself and reclaim occupied territories. The move reflects a broader strategy by the Biden administration to support Ukraine not only militarily, but also politically and economically, as it faces an existential threat. Chapter 2. Russia's reaction. Moscow's reaction to Biden's announcement was immediate and vehement. Dmitry Peskov, spokesperson for President Vladimir Putin, condemned the United States' decision as a dangerous escalation that could lead to a whole new spiral of tension. Peskov accused Washington of adding fuel to the fire and exacerbating an already volatile situation. He asserted that such actions would not go unanswered, underscoring Russia's determination to respond decisively. The Kremlin's rhetoric reflects a growing sense of urgency and alarm over the implications of United States military support for Ukraine. Analysts suggest that Russia may view this as a direct threat, prompting fears of retaliatory actions that could further destabilize the region. The potential for the miscalculations or unintended consequences increases as both sides ramp up their military posturing. Chapter 3. The North Korean factor. Adding another layer of complexity is the recent deployment of North Korean troops to support Russian forces in Ukraine. Reports indicate that approximately 10,000 North Korean soldiers have been sent to the conflict zone, particularly in the Kursk region, logistics, where they are expected to engage alongside Russian troops. North Korea's involvement is seen as a potential game changer for Russia, which has faced considerable challenges on the battlefield, including high casualty rates and dwindling resources. The collaboration is not only about manpower, it also opens avenues for the military technology exchanges that could benefit both nations. Analysts warn that this partnership could embolden Russia further, while complicating the already complex dynamics of the conflict. The presence of North Korean troops is particularly alarming, given their history of unconventional warfare tactics and willingness to engage in aggressive military actions. Their involvement may signal a shift in how Russia conducts its operations in Ukraine, potentially leading to more brutal tactics and increased civilian casualties. Chapter 4. Military implications. The implications of Biden's decision and Russia's furious response could reverberate throughout Europe and beyond. As both sides prepare for intensified military engagements, analysts warn that this escalation could lead to a broader confrontation involving NATO allies. The potential for miscalculations or unintended consequences increases as both sides ramp up their military posturing. Ukraine's ability to strike deep into Russian territory with United States-supplied missiles could significantly alter the dynamics on the battlefield. It may compel Russia to rethink its strategies and potentially escalate its military responses, including targeting Ukrainian infrastructure or increasing its troop presence along NATO borders. Conversely, if Ukraine successfully utilizes these long-range capabilities without severe repercussions from Russia, it could embolden Kyiv further in its fight against Russian aggression. Chapter 5. International reactions. The international community is closely monitoring developments in this escalating conflict. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has reiterated the alliance's commitment to supporting Ukraine, while cautioning against actions that could lead to an expanded war. He emphasized that NATO does not seek conflict with Russia, but will continue to provide necessary assistance to ensure Ukraine can defend itself. European leaders are grappling with how best to respond to this shifting landscape of war. Some countries are advocating for increased military aid to Ukraine, while others are urging restraint to avoid further escalation. The delicate balance between supporting Ukraine and avoiding confrontation with Russia remains a critical challenge for Western nations. In addition, there are concerns about how these developments might affect global security dynamics beyond Europe. Countries in Asia and other regions are watching closely as they assess their security situations, considering increased tensions between major powers. The United Nations has called for immediate dialogue between all parties involved to de-escalate tensions and prevent further loss of life. Chapter 6. The humanitarian impact. As military tensions rise, the humanitarian impact of the conflict continues to worsen. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced due to ongoing violence, with many seeking refuge in neighboring countries or facing dire conditions internally. The prospect of intensified fighting raises concerns about civilian casualties and further disruptions to essential services. Humanitarian organizations are calling for increased international support to address the growing needs of those affected by the conflict. Access to food, medical care, and shelter remains critical as winter approaches, complicating efforts for those caught in the crossfire. The situation is particularly dire in frontline areas where fighting is most intense. Civilians often find themselves trapped between warring factions with limited access to necessities. Reports indicate that many families are struggling with food insecurity as supply chains are disrupted by ongoing hostilities. Organizations like United Nations Children's Fund and Médecins Sans Frontières have ramped up their efforts on the ground, but face significant challenges due to security concerns and logistical obstacles. Chapter 7. Looking ahead. As we look ahead, Biden's decision has set off a chain reaction that could reshape US-Russia relations and influence global geopolitics for years to come. The potential for escalation remains high as both sides dig in their heels amid rising tensions. For Ukraine, this moment represents an opportunity to leverage newfound capabilities against a formidable adversary. However, it also carries risks that could lead to unintended consequences on both sides. For Russia, responding decisively will be crucial in maintaining its influence and control over occupied territories, while managing domestic pressures amid ongoing sanctions and international isolation. The coming weeks will be critical as both nations navigate this complex landscape filled with uncertainty and potential volatility. The world watches as events unfold, hoping for a resolution that can bring peace back to a region long plagued by conflict. How do you think this situation will impact the future of international relations? Please leave your comments below. If you find this analysis insightful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more updates on this critical issue and other global events. Thank you for watching.